Hello friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Tori if you're new. Today we are doing the end of the year book tag and we're gonna be talking about my goals for 2024. I hope that you're excited. Make sure you have a coffee, tea, beverage, snack, and let's talk about some books. It's like 70 degrees here today and I am sweating in the sweater, but I was like, there's no way that I'm filming the end of the year book tag and not wearing a Christmas sweater. It's just gonna happen. First question is books that I need to finish before the end of the year. I have 3 that I'm going to talk about, technically 4 actually. The first being Jade City by Fonda Lee. I started this book in the summertime. I want to say like July. I got more than halfway. I got like 60% through and I just really wasn't enjoying it. So I only have this much left. Because I read it so recently, I'm not going to reread the whole thing. I want to try to just pick up where I left off and finish this book. So many people love this series so much and I want to be one of those people. I want to believe it was right book, wrong time syndrome when I picked this up. Then I have not necessarily Song of the Marked, but this is the only book that I have of the series, which I need to change very soon. But it's the Shadows and Crown series. I only have books 4 and 5 left, and so I want to read these before the end of the year. There's a lot of like little details and characters and things happening in the book and I've kept such a good pace with it. I literally started this series in, I want to say October, and I have just been binge reading these books ever since, like 2 books a month basically. So books 4 and 5 I'm hoping to get to in December just to finish out this series and just binge read the whole thing. And then the last book, and I'm currently reading this one, is Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, another series that I've absolutely binge read this year. Crowns of Nyaxia series. I did also read Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. That's what sparked my enjoyment and my love for this series. It's the last one. I am currently maybe 25% of the way through the book, so I will be finishing this hopefully this week. But yes, Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. Carissa Broadbent has become one of my favorite authors this year. I also read her entire War of Lost Hearts trilogy this year. I just love her so much. Books to transition to the end of the year. This is always a tough question for me because I feel like I just read a lot of the same things throughout the entire year. But there is some fantasy I feel like helps transition me from November and like fall time into December and wintry vibes. So the first one being God Killer by Hannah Kaner. I'm actually almost done with this book. I have about an hour left in the audiobook. It hasn't transitioned me as much as I was hoping because I'm not like loving this book. I find that it's a little bit mid, but it's a fantasy book that kind of gave epic fantasy, wintry. It has a really cute mismatched group of characters that are going on an adventure together, and to me that just screams wintry, late fall vibes. So this was my transitional book. The other book that I have to really fully transition me into December is The Prince of Snow. This is on Kindle Unlimited, I believe. It's a fantasy romance and they both have hidden magic. I think it's going to be quite magical winter wonderland. That's what I'm hoping for at least. Question 3, are there any releases that you're still waiting on? The only book that I'm really waiting on that's getting released this year is Ruthless Vows. I read Divine Rivals, which is up there earlier this year, absolutely loved it. Rebecca Ross captured my entire heart with that book and left us on a massive cliffhanger. So I cannot wait to read Ruthless Vows. I'm probably gonna get it right when it comes out, but I'm not sure if I'm going to read it before the end of this year, but it is a most anticipated release for 2023 that has yet to come out. Are there any books that you still need to read before the end of 2023? I never know how to answer this question because like, yes, obviously, but my absolute massive priorities for the end of the year, I still have yet to read Iron Flame. I'm going to be reading this very, very soon. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit nervous. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be great. Iron Flame. Then I have Day of Fallen Night. I love Samantha Shannon. I read Priory towards the end of the year last year. And so Day of Fallen Night, I just have to get to. I love reading big chunky epic fantasies in December. There's something that's very like comforting about it to me, even though I know that this book is probably going to emotionally destroy me. But there's something about just taking your time, reading a little bit more slowly, returning back to this massive chunky world where you're really getting to know the characters super, super well. So A Day of Fallen Night. And the last one that I need to read before the end of the year, Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I'm trying to dip my toe into Brandy Sandy. I read Warbreaker recently. I want to give Trust of the Emerald Sea a try. Are there any books that you think could still shock you? I think Iron Flame could be that for me, whether it's like shocking in a good way or a bad way. I'm trying my best to avoid all of the opinions and spoilers and everything, but they're all over social media, and I know that there has been some mixed reviews of Iron Flame, which is heartbreaking, but the same thing kind of happened with Fourth Way. It was quite polarizing, but I feel like from what I've seen about Iron Flame, it's not polarizing in that it's 5 stars or 1 star for people. It's kind of like a 3-star, and that's shocking to me. So I think that this could be a shock. And then what are your 2024 reading plans? So I figured this would be a good time to go through my goals for 2024. I do have a little bullet journal spread that I'm referring to, so if you see me looking down, I'm looking at this because I did write everything out. So for 2024, my first goal is I want to continue to annotate more. It's something that in 2023 I started to incorporate a lot more, and I just love it. I feel like it really helps me to remember books a lot better because my recollection of book details after I put it down or finish it is basically non-existent, but I feel like if I annotate a book, there's things that really help to stick in my brain that much more, and it's just so fun. I need to take the pressure off of myself of just like reading books as fast as I can, and I feel like annotating helps me do that as well. It helps to slow me down a little bit and like savor the book that I'm currently reading a little bit more. My second goal is that I want to read at least half of my books from either Kindle Unlimited or the library. So it's not that I don't want to buy any books in 2024, but I love Kindle Unlimited. I probably read at least a third of my books from Kindle Unlimited anyways, because I love their selection. I think it's so worth the $10 or $12, whatever it is, each month. And they have so many good romance and romantasy books, and even some fantasy now. I still need to read Mortal Blade and The Sword of Kaigen and Dreams of the Dying, which I believe are all on Kindle Unlimited. Like, they just have such a good selection, and I don't necessarily need to buy a book first in order to read it if it's already on Kindle Unlimited. Now, if it's a book that I love that I read on Kindle Unlimited, I will probably purchase a physical copy just to continue to support that author, but I love my Kindle. I want to keep using her and loving her, so Kindle Unlimited. But then the second part of that is utilize my library a little bit more. I do use Libby, and I absolutely love Libby. I need to do a better job of putting my Libby holds in for very, very popular books beforehand, and that way I can like plan on when those are going to become available. I kind of did that with some Christmas books for this month, for December, and I'm so happy that I did that because there were some long waits, for example, for Lovelight Farms and for Tessa Bailey's Wreck the Halls. It said that there was like a 12-week wait, but I put those holds in like August or September. I started to plan ahead, and I'm really happy because I love reading Christmas books, but I don't always love to purchase Christmas books because I'm usually just gonna read those one time and then not like return to them, so there's no need for me to own them. Utilizing my library, utilizing my Kindle Unlimited, or continuing to utilize my Kindle Unlimited a little bit more in 2024, at least half of my books. And I'm going to make a bullet journal spread where I can track how well I'm sticking to those goals. My next goal is to read 1 intimidating book a month in 2024. So what I found this year is that when I was putting together my 23 books for 2023 challenge, I put some scary books on there. And I was like, my challenge to myself is to read some books that are intimidating to me, and it's gonna be great. And I did read some of them, but now that we're in like the last 2 months of the year, November and December, when I was looking at, okay, well, what do I have left to read from this challenge? The majority were these scary, intimidating books that I just kept pushing off, and I was like, oh, I'll read those later, I'll read those later. And now it's November, December, and I have a lot of scary books that I need to read. I probably won't be able to squeeze in all of them before the end of this year, but I need to do a better job of holding myself accountable to actually read those books. I do want to put at least 1 intimidating book each month on my to-be-read list. And that kind of leads into my last goal. So I want to leave more room for myself to mood read. So when I was looking at my reading challenges that I signed myself up for in 2023, I did the 23 books for 2023 challenge, and I did the 12 books from 12 friends. I was very hot and cold with TBRs throughout 2023. It was because I was putting like 10 to 12 to 15 books on a TBR for a month and then leaving myself no room to mood read, or if I did start to mood read, I would start to feel guilty about it, if that makes sense. So I think stepping away from TBRs a little bit, or at the absolute maximum, I usually read between 9 to 12 books each month. If it's a really, really good month, I read 15, but that is not common. I want to, at maximum, put like 4 to 5 books each month on my TBR, and that way it gives me a lot of leniency to just read what I want. You know what I mean? The months where I was mood reading a lot in 2023, I found I stumbled upon books that quickly became my favorite. For example, Song of the Marked was a mood read, and I ended up binge reading this series, completely swerving off of my TBR for the month that I picked up this book, and it was so much fun. I want to give myself more room to discover things like this. Binge read an entire series if I want to, you know what I mean? So I'm not sure if I'm going to do 24 books in 2024. It's tough because I've done that challenge for the past 2 years, but I just think that dedicating myself immediately to 24 books isn't going to help me achieve my goal of leaving more room to mood read, if that makes sense. And my last goal for 2024 is to finally read this book. So it kind of goes along with annotating more and staying consistent with annotating books that I love. This book is called How to Read Literature Like a Professor, a lively and entertaining guide to reading between the lines by Thomas C. Foster. One of my friends recommended this book to me because I said I wanted to continue improving my analytical book reading skills. I've had this book on my shelves for 2 years and I have yet to read it. So my goal for 2024, maybe I'll just start off the year like reading little bits of this as I go, but my goal is to finally read this. So that is it, my friends. Those are my 2024 reading goals. That is my end of the year book tag. Please let me know what your answers are. I will leave the questions for this book tag down in the description box below, and I would love to hear your answers. And I would also love to hear about your reading goals for 2024. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the comments, and I will see you in my next one.